Hello, good morning. Welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show and our Leeds United Roundup. I am not Stephen Brown. Sadly, Browney couldn't make it. He had to be called away at the last minute. But I'm here instead, Chris Bell, joined by Jason Booker, as always, to talk all things Leeds United. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, very well, mate. Always much better the day after the night before when Leeds, do the business and take the points. It happens a lot less in the Premier League, so yeah, you have to make the most of the morning after the night before when it's going well. So yeah, all
You
good,
take
mate.
it where you can get it, but at the same time, I mean, we'll come on to the kind of the month overall later, but seem to be making a little bit of a habit of these good results of late.
We're certainly in a bit of a good space right now, aren't we? I mean, it's a far cry from what we were at 3 weeks ago when we were all flapping and talking
Barker
out,
out,
and yeah, me and Browney kept on coming on here, and we're in staunch defence, really, more of what the potential change would look like and the options that would be available to us in comparison. And we were saying, the performances have been much better than the results have kind of outlaid. And I think that was still the reality. And I think we're now seeing a little bit of a fruit of his labour. And I think there has been also obviously a bit of a change as well. And we're seeing an improvement. But I actually think the performances are very similar. I really do. I think the performance yesterday, as an example, wasn't that different to Aston Villa at home, as an example, where we ended up losing the game 2-1. So, yeah, we're in a good space, mate, and long may it continue. Long may it continue. Because at the minute, we're trending to survive, and that is, a hell of a place to be in as we approach January, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, Christ, when was the last time New United sides were this comfortable, I guess, at this stage? Certainly, for Leeds and for Sunderland, at least. I mean, let's start at the beginning then. The lineup comes out yesterday. I know you and Brown were discussing it in the group chat before the game kicked off. And the big news was Brendan Aronson back into the starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I instantly posted on Twitter just to get a rise, because I do again defend Brendan on online probably too much, to the detriment of my own mental health. But I just did post, what I'm not looking, but I wonder what the meltdown is like with regards to the Brendan Aronson call. And I did see a few comments here or there with regards to it. And yeah, I mean, Daniel Farke rates him. Daniel Farke clearly rates what he brings to the side and what he's about. He's got so many deficiencies. He absolutely does. But I actually think he's had a pretty good season. The haters won't agree with that. The haters won't be able to climb down and admit it. But the reality is what you're seeing on the pitch, he's actually had an all right season. He's been nowhere near our biggest problem, put it that way, whether it be on the right wing. Yesterday, he plays in a as part of the midfield three, and he got standing ovation when he got substituted later on into the game, which was really nice to see. You saw the players making a bit of a thing of the fact that he'd had a good game as well as he was coming off the pitch. Ampadu, Joe Rodon made a thing of going over and saying, like, a big well done to how we'd played. It clearly affects him. Does the lack of support that he gets from some sections of the fan base. He's a nuisance. There's not another player within our ranks that creates the kind of chaos that he does and puts the energy levels in that he does. And I actually think creativity-wise, he's better than people make out as well. And yesterday, because of the midfield three now, because we've got a little bit more support in certain areas, which kind of balance out his deficiencies a bit more, he created a lot, and he started getting involved in the game in areas of the pitch where he's useful. So yeah, good to see. And Daniel Farke was open that it was a selection thing as well, which I like. I like the fact that he's going to make changes based on the game that's in front of him. He doesn't do enough of that, doesn't Daniel Farke? And he did that yesterday. Provided more support for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's quicker, he can get in and around the striker a little bit quicker, and allows Okafor to play more as the man off of the attack rather than having to be in and around Calvert-Lewin for support. So yeah, it's good, mate. It's good. It's good to see.
I mean, you just touched on that Farke has been a little bit, he's been guilty of being a little bit stubborn and kind of sticking with the same even when things haven't worked. How much of a change have you seen in recent weeks? Obviously, it's that infamous change at half-time in the Man City game that's kind of seems to have sparked everything off. But, how much are we kind of liking what we're seeing now that he does seem to be showing a little bit more, flexibility at times and looking at what's ahead rather than sticking with what he thinks he knows?
There's definitely been a change in flexibility. There has. You know, the 3-5-2 looks considerably different to the casual average fan. I say that a lot, and it sounds patronising, but it's true because it's so evidently different. But the facts is that Daniel Farke has always been able to change tactics within games. People just don't see it, don't understand it. They just think, oh, we've lost, he didn't change. We've won the game. Well, we've won the game because we're so much better than everybody else. That's what it is. That's the equation for fans. I'm talking about in the Championship here. Whereas that's just not the case. You know, yesterday in the post-match, he actually, with some detail, explained the way that we set up going into that game to press with a 5, to really put effective pressure on going forward into that final third of the pitch. And most weeks, Daniel Farke doesn't come out and talk like that. But hopefully this might go some way in terms of making fans see that this kind of thing is going on all the time. You know, Daniel Farke gets such a hard time. He's not perfect. He's far from perfect. But the fact that he's been able to put us into this position 17 games into the season, 19 points or whatever it is now, I think shows that he is of a lower Premier League level manager. Because this squad, I'm going to maintain it, this squad right now, I still think he's 17th or 18th at best. And he is overperforming. And the team are overperforming. And the most important thing, and I've said this a lot on the shows with Browney, he has been able to galvanise them to be more than the sum of its parts. The team are playing for him. The team are really playing for him. So, I think the combination of both, mate. I mean, I love watching us in the 3-5-2 because I think we're better without the ball. So when we go direct in them areas of the pitch, we're working off Calvert-Lewin, which is, you know, one of our probably biggest strengths right now. But also, if we turn the ball over in that area of the pitch, we're safe because we're quite good defensively. We don't make that many mistakes, and having 3 back there obviously makes us even more stabilised. I know Browney were losing his mind about Pascal Struijk in the early part of yesterday. I didn't see the early part of the first half, so I don't know what he was specifically talking about, but being in this formation allows his deficiencies to be kind of neutralised a little bit. So he's good, mate, and he's going really well. And I'm really, really pleased for Daniel Farke because I just think he's a good guy. I think he's a good guy who's a decent enough manager.
Don't forget you can get your comments in. Gavin, he says, "Wow, marching on together." Skippy says, "I thought Parker's time was up, and I was saying he had to be replaced, but credit to him for changing. Happy to be proven wrong. Long may it continue." And Gavin again. So I'm going to be watching Andy Leg videos. I mean, let's kind of get into it yesterday. When it comes to kickoff, you look at that Palace side, obviously a Palace side that had made 11 changes from their Europa League game in which they drew 2-2 with the Finnish side QPS. You kind of looked at it from their perspective and thought, fair play. They went back to what they class as their starting 11. It's what you would do in league game. Yeah. It's going to be a tough test because Palace have looked pretty good this season. And then, wow, what a performance to kind of put in all around.
Me and Browney were saying in the preview, I mean, I love watching Crystal Palace. And I really like them as a club, if I'm honest. I've always liked them as a club, from Simon Jordan being the owner in the Championship or in the Premier League. I love Selhurst Park. It's one of my favourite grounds to go to. I've been a couple of times, and it's a great atmosphere. It's old school. Like I just like them. Obviously, they were everybody's underdog last season, winning the FA Cup, which was class. They've got players within the ranks that you just enjoy watching. You know, Mateta's so much fun to watch. Ismail Assar's having a great season. I know he wasn't available yesterday. You know, there's others when Eze was there as well, fun to watch. Elise, when he was there, fun to watch. I just like them.
Good club.
Yeah, they are. And turning into yesterday's game, I mean, I said to Browney going into it, I'd have taken a point. I'd have absolutely taken a point, even at Ellen Road, because they're a top side and they're battling in and around the European spots at the top of the Premier League. They're well established. You know, they can really hurt you. And yesterday, we put them to the sword, mate. I mean, Ellen Road's a problem for anyone. It really is. We've lost twice at home this season. I think the Spurs result, now looking at the way the season's gone out, was a bit disappointing, but they were fortunate on the day. We really should have won that game. And we lose to Villa after battering them first half, and we concede 2 magic moments from Morgan Rogers. and that's all they had, so that's it. That's our, kind of disappointment at Ellen Road this season. Apart from that, we've looked almost untouchable at times. We put Chelsea to the sword at Ellen Road. We've now put Palace to the sword at Ellen Road. We started off the season with a great win against Everton. We should have beaten Bournemouth. They equalised in the 95th minute completely against a run of play as well. So we've had a really, really good start to the season at home, and whoever kind of turns up there is going to have to play extremely well to beat us. We are a completely different side, and if we can match even match 50% of that away from home, we'll be completely comfortably safe as it stands. So yeah, mate, it's a massive result yesterday. Massive result.
Yeah, I mean, the overall performance was just one of those. I was kind of found myself looking at this, watching it, trying to work out that gauge of how good are Leeds being, how way off the pace of Palace being, sort of thing. It was one of those, and I think, to be honest, a bit of both, because Palace didn't look anything like, as we said before, they can play, but at the same time, that crowd, the atmosphere, under the lights at Elland Road, we've said many a time, makes a difference somehow, and it's one of those. I know it's still 90 minutes of football, but it makes a difference. But there was just that energy and that pressing as well that Daniel Farke related to was just so intense from the off, and getting bodies in to help Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And look, let's turn to him, because he's basically in the form of his life. But he's equaled his best record, hasn't he? He'd gone 5 games in a row scoring as his best record at Everton, and he's now equaled that in a Leeds shirt already. What? Less than 6 months into his Leeds career.
Yeah, just quickly on the opposition thing. We've had this conversation come up a few times this season already, in that, the opposition didn't turn up today, but giving, almost taking credit away from Leeds. And I know what you mean. I've even said it about opposition myself, but I ultimately think, especially the good performances that we've seen at Elland Road, it's been as a result of the way that we've played. Yeah, we really made the opposition through the tactical instruction of Daniel Farke, which is the funny thing, but people will just say it's good player performances, but it's smart. We absolute suffocate teams out of the game. The way that we funnel play is really good out of possession. I think Daniel Farke struggles a little bit in creativity. He's a bit too pragmatic at times going forward. But what Daniel Farke is very good at is setting up a team tactically out of possession. He's really good at it. It's effective, really effective.
Well, let's be fair. That was the one benefit, I guess, of his Norwich stint in the Premier League, was he was having to learn how the hell to play out of possession with obviously that Norwich side. So he's got experience of that pragmatism and that defensive know-how already in the Premier League.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, coming to Calvert-Lewin, I think, we all understood, I think, the potential of the player that we were getting when we got him on a free transfer. It was whether we could keep him fit. And he's had one little niggle this season, came out the team for a game, and then was back in. So far, he's been injury-free. He was injury-free last season. People forget that he played 34 times last season. It was the season before when the injuries hit. The problem that he had last season was form, not injuries. So he's looking strong. I mean, he looks like a specimen. I mean, he's shredded. He's really worked on himself. And, this is a lad that's played 11 times for England. He scored 4 international goals for England. He's a top player. And right now, we're getting the best out of him. We're playing to his strengths. And he's looking a predator. I think he enjoys being Leeds United's number 9. And that can't always be said for Leeds United's number 9s over the years. Sometimes the shirt dwarfs them. It doesn't. I think he's a Yorkshire lad and he gets it. He gets it up here as well. I just think it's a bit of a blossom for him. And, right now, if he continues, he will be in question for being on that plane, which is mental to think. And he will be the one that keeps us up for me. If he stays fit, he's that important.
Thing is, you think back to when he was. For some reason, I thought he might have gone to a tournament at some point. He didn't, from what I've seen. A lot of these caps think of in friendlies and qualifiers. But there was a lot of, when he kind of first came in and was doing well that season, he got 20, 21 goals, I think, for Everton. was so much talk that he was England quality. He could be a real option for England because he was different to Kane. He offers something completely different in terms of physical presence, height, strength, but also, the ability to hold the ball up well. And then obviously it didn't quite work out. We seem to be seeing, certainly with the start of the season that he's had, that a lot of people, I think, have been very quick to write him off and be like, nah, his international career is gone for him. But actually, it's like we say, if we keep this up, and we spoke just before we started, we're like, well, hypothetically, if he matches the form that he's had so far over the course of the season, he'd come out with 17, 18 goals. And that would be enough, you would think, as an English striker to get himself on the play.
100%. I think what it is with somebody like Calvert-Lewin, you watch Match of the Day and see him miss from 10 yards, 6 yards, whatever. And just then that's his whole game. It becomes a bit of a meme, a bit of a laughing stock. I'm open enough to say, since watching him play for Leeds, when he plays for your club, you watch players differently, and he is extremely talented as a striker. His movement is excellent. His hold-up play is excellent. His link-up play is excellent. He's very clever in when he wins free kicks and the way that he uses his body. He's excellent in the air. I mean, the goal that he scored against Brentford. It was Ronaldo-esque. And I'm not dramatizing. Ronaldo, the way that he used to hang and, he plants some headers in the opposite corner is beautiful. It's a real talent. It's all Chris Bell, that, isn't
it? You know too much about my Football Manager tactics, but it's such a good header. Whip it in, get a header on it. Great stuff. We're going to go to a couple of the comments. Sebastian Blue is tuning in from South Africa. He says, we love you, Leeds. He also, he's been optimistic for the season overall. He reckons he might finish 12th or 13th. So, look, if that happens, I think Daniel Parker would have done miracles, to be honest.
We need to calm her. Because 12th or 13th is a long way away over the 38-game season. I would take 17th on goal difference right now. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Gavin says that Calvert-Lewin showed that he knows where to be with the tap-ins, and that's the thing. You need somebody to be in those positions, don't you? That fox in the box at times, and again with the presence that he has, he can do it. He can get in front of defenders and be the man to score the easy goals as well as the belting headers like at Brentford.
They say it about Haaland, that Haaland's a tapping merchant. And I'm like, what? So what?
Gonna go for a couple of the others. Skippy, sure, with the AFCON players leaving, will now start taking a toll on some of the teams. Certainly very well see that with Sunderland. Gavin making the point that Everton have spent 50 million on two strikers who won 2 goals in total. It's one of those, though. I think, and this is a point, though, with Calvert-Lewin, because you could easily have seen Calvert-Lewin, if he'd have signed a 1-year extension, stayed at Everton, you could easily see him be on 1 goal so far this season. Sometimes, as you've said about coming back to Yorkshire and being a Yorkshire lad, it's that change of surroundings, isn't it? It's that fresh start. And, I think I saw he was in after the Brentford game. He went up and joined the studio with Sky Sports, and he spoke really well and was saying about how he's enjoying being at Leeds. And that new start, that kind of fresh start for him. And I think that says a lot as well, that sometimes a change is as good as a rest, to be honest.
Well, they're only human, aren't they? It's just like us. Like sometimes when we go into a new job after being in a certain position or career for a certain period of time, we get revitalized as well. It's no different. A change of scenery, change of fan base, new opportunity to prove everybody wrong in a different way. I think he's got his body in a place where he now backs himself, and he has a confidence in himself. And I think he also now is the main man. And I don't think at Everton for a number of years, really, he'd been the main man. I think others had come in and
because of the injury problems, hadn't they? Where others had come in to take his place.
Yeah. So I'm delighted for him. I think he's a really, really top guy as well. I think, again, his reputation has kind of superseded him a little bit because he likes to wear funky clothes, and he's maybe been considered a bit of a prima donna. The lad's an absolute tank. So, long may it continue, mate. Because, it's been a long time since we've had a striker like him. I know we have had some good attackers over the years, most of them in lower down levels. I think of Jermaine Beckford. I think of Ross McCormack, some good goal scorers. But really, players like Calvert-Lewin is resigned to Chris Wood, and Mark Viduka. They're the only two that really even kind of come to mind that have the quality,
physical power, and
and just know what they are. Like, they don't try and be anything that they're not. Like, he is very comfortable in the skin of being a target forward in the Premier League, and he does it extremely well.
Yeah. Gavin makes a question of, where does this leave Nemecha?
It's interesting because everybody were glowing about Nemecha when this partnership started to form with Calvert-Lewin. Obviously, Calvert-Lewin's the main man. He will be the man that starts. Noah Okafor gives us something a little bit different off that number 9. I think the great news with this, with the way that things are going at the minute, is that we don't have to rush Nemecha back in. Nemecha can come onto the bench, give us 20 minutes, give us 30 minutes, then build back into starting. I do think that the partnership of Nemecha and Calvert-Lewin is better than the partnership of Calvert-Lewin and Okafor, personally, just because I think Okafor doesn't really have that understanding of playing in that area of the pitch, but it does give us a turn of pace that I think none of the other ones have, and a turn of skill that the other ones probably don't have. But I really like Nemecha. I think Mecha's is a really solid option. But
one of those as well. Given time for Okafor and Calvert-Lewin, the more they play together, the better you think that partnership will become.
It's very, very true. I think there's been a couple of questions in the chat about January signings, and I know we've mentioned it earlier on in the week as well. For me, the key area will be adding another number 9, somebody that can give us another profile in that area. So Okafor doesn't really have to be the man to rely on. We can use him elsewhere, and we probably end up moving on Joe Perreault, which is sad because I like him as a championship level striker, but he doesn't suit us. He just doesn't work in the Premier League. He just doesn't.
And to be fair, let's be honest, the way the Championship's looking, there'll be a whole host of clubs that would snap your hand off for Joel Perreault's signature. Given what he can do at Championship level, that is for sure. Yesterday, overall, are we looking at performance of the season so far? I mean, as you say, it's one of those where, given the defeat to Villa and some of the performances that you've put in where you've not necessarily got the results, that haven't been much different, but it's just one of those where yesterday, I guess it was performance and the outcome. It was a performance that got the result that it warranted. Everything clicked. Calvert-Lewin was excellent, and everything just worked for yesterday.
Yeah, I think what a lot of Leeds fans will really like about yesterday's performance is the fact that we obviously got the 2-0 lead, and we came out in the second half and still went at them. I think that's what will really make a lot of Leeds fans happy, because Daniel Farke does have a habit of kind of sitting on the 2-goal lead and sticking, not men behind the ball, but we changed the structural tactics of the way that it looks in the second half when that's been the circumstances, Premier League and Championship. And whereas we didn't do that yesterday, we went for the third. We actually went for the fourth. I mean, Glasgow were big enough to say like it could have been 6 or 7, and it really could have been. They ended up taking a little shine off it at the end with the penalty, and then the Divani chance that hits the post. But it's easy to do that when you've got nothing to lose in the last minute of the game. Yeah. So I think I think that was really pleasing to see. I think you can get away with doing that at Ellen Road 3-0 up when the opposition are feeling probably the way that they were. I mean, we were so in control of the game. So was it the performance of the season? I think personally, I think it's right up there, obviously. But I don't think you can look past the Chelsea result, because Chelsea have got such an unbelievable team, and we really bullied them. We took them apart a little bit, to be honest. And they're an exceptional side. They're a much bigger gap in quality to us than Crystal Palace are to us. So I'd probably just go with that one. But still delighted to see it.
I mean, look, December, as you said, when we were talking back in November, we were like, it's a matter of time before Parker goes. We're going to end up losing these games no matter what. And just look at this. That win over Chelsea, the draw against Liverpool. Obviously, you got the City game prior to that. Yes, you didn't get the result, but that second half performance is seemingly the catalyst and that turning point for the season so far. December, it's fair to say, it's been a very positive festive period so far compared to what we were expecting a month ago.
Yeah, I mean, especially coming into that list of games as well, even when you look at Crystal Palace at home, you're not completely comfortable with that because we know the side that they are. And it's not like they come into this game either in bad form either. We've just taken the form book out of the window and blown them away. So it's a shocker, mate. I mean, I can't have imagined it to have ever gone as well as this. We rely on a late equaliser against Liverpool, but I think we deserved it. I think we showed every bit of character that we needed. You know, we came back from 2-0 down in that game as well. And I just think you've got to give Daniel Farke all the credit in the world. You've got to give the players all the credit in the world. And long may it continue. And I really, really do believe, you know, now we've set ourselves up in going into 2026 to really keep the pressure away from us. We hopefully can continue to get results without the fear, because I do think there's a confidence going through the team at the minute that they've got the bit between the teeth. But I saw a comment earlier, and I do think it's really important that we kind of make a point to this, that it's important that we don't just lose our minds when we lose a game. You know, as a fan base, we're riding the crest of a wave now. We're behind Daniel Farke. I don't think there's any changes now.
There we go.
Yeah. This is the situation that we're going to find ourselves in between now and the end of the season. Let's not bring it back the other way by making it more difficult for ourselves, because the fan base are a massive part of this. You know, I've made countless points about West Ham, and West Ham have got some problems on the pitch. They've got some problems with Nuno. They've got some problems in the board, and the fans are actually making it all worse.
Yeah,
they're not showing the stomach for a relegation battle. They just want to war me. Where, you know, my ground's so shit. We're gonna make the home. We're gonna make the home form worse.
You're right. Yeah.
That's what they're doing, and they are contributing to their own downfall. And we as a fan base need to make sure that we don't do that. And at Ellen Road, we've not been doing that since the City game. You know, I remember saying to Browney after the Man City late goal, whether he goes back to the 4-2-3-1 or the 3-5-2 at the time, there's no actual knowledge at that time as to what would have been the right tactic to go with. But in terms of what it will do to the fan base going into the Chelsea game, if you turn up with 3-5-2, they're going to be up for it. And he did. And they were.
Lo and behold.
And it makes it. So you have to work with that 12th man. I know it's cheesy, it's corny, but it's so true. So, yeah, I can't remember where we even started this point, but that's how I feel about it. And you know,
it's a great December so far.
It's fantastic December, better than anybody could have ever imagined, mate.
Now, obviously, next up, is it 28th? I think. Is it 28th? The trip to Sunderland.
Walk nonsense, Chris. Walk nonsense. No game on Boxing Day. I'm fuming.
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. It is absolute rubbish. You know, they put, is it one game, I think, on Boxing Day? It was
late kick-off, Manchester United away at Newcastle.
That's it. Is the late kick on Boxing Day, and then the rest are on 27th and 28th. Yeah. It is ridiculous. Although, luckily, non-league and the EFL has got you covered for Boxing Day at least. Yeah. Obviously, Sunderland away, they got a 0-0 draw with Brighton yesterday. Obviously, they've lost probably 27 of their 25-man squad, and another mass isn't right there. But that's what it'll feel like. It'll feel like there's nobody left in that Sunderland dressing room. I mean, Gary's the next point. He says he really hopes we can get at least a point at the Mackems to go into 2026 on 20 points. I mean, it's one of those. It'll be interesting to see how Sunderland adapt, I guess, to the players, the countless players that they're going to be missing now because of AFCON. And we said this in the summer, actually, when we were looking at their recruitment, we were like, bloody good players, but they're going to disappear for a month and a half.
Yeah. I think they've lost 7, haven't they? 7 players. Yeah. And it's a large part of their first team as well. It's not like bit part players.
Yeah, you're not losing like your third choice left back and your second choice like holding mid or something, are you?
And we've not got a single one, which is pretty nice. I think if Sunderland had maybe had another 5 points off the board, I think they'd be in a bit of trouble come the end of January. I think they'd be flirting in and around, which then would put the pressure on. I think they're comfortable in terms of any relegation fears. I think this is a really tough game, a really, really tough game. I'd argue it's probably more tough than Liverpool away, which seems mental because I just think momentum, the atmosphere at the stadium, like just talking about the Ellen Road situation, they're going to be so up for this game because everybody said, and Leeds fans were very vocal about saying Sunderland are going to be crap. Leeds are the team to watch out of the 3 promoted teams. And then Sunderland have obviously gone and done what they've done at the beginning of the season. I do think they're massively overrated. And I do think that playing way outside of their actual barrier, I think the performances, I've watched them maybe 4 or 5 times this season, the performance to result ratio doesn't match, in my opinion. I think they probably should be 5 or 6 points worse off. But they're not. They've got the results. They score late goals. They are intense. They really do keep on playing to the last very second. You know, they've scored some late goals. They've got the capabilities to be able to dig in when it's going rough as well. So you have to like a lot of what they do. They've got a good goalkeeper. The players within the system last season that have stepped up, that are still playing within the team, have really stepped up. You know, I remember me and you talking about Don Ballard about a year ago, and we both said, I think, if I remember rightly, he's not a Premier League player. He's every bit a Premier League player. The lad's unbelievable. You know, and really, they've got others. Yeah, I mean, they've got others within that as well that have really stepped up. Like Isadora has done really, really well. And, you know, so they've got a real nice blend between the players that were already there and the new recruits that have come in. I really like Browney. I know we've got...
He's a cracking player. I liked him at Ajax, to be fair, over the last couple of years.
He's just rugged and muscle, and he's just awful to play against as a defender. But same as Calvert-Lewin. I'd still rather have Calvert-Lewin, if I'm honest. But, yeah. I think it's a real tough game. Really, really tough. I think them two, I mean, I was just saying to you before we came live, I'd love us to get through them two unbeaten so we can go into the Manchester United game on the 4th, unbeaten in 6, because I just think the atmosphere is going to be absolutely rocking anyway come the 4th of January. But can you imagine if we do it on the back of unbeaten in 6? I mean, I just think we're blown away.
If you, I mean, look, it's 2 tricky away games. If you could take a point in each of them, that would, on the face of it, be a couple of decent points taken.
Real.
And then, as you say, and look, I appreciate you and Browney don't usually look this far into the future, but January is a busy, busy month. Yeah. And as you say, it really kicks off that home game against Man United on the 4th.
I'm really, really excited. I mean, we've obviously played them in the 3 years that we were back, and we drew one of them 0-0. I think it was. I think that's the only.
Spirit, by the way, that's the spirit.
Yeah, I think we've only taken one result from them. We've had some unbelievable games against them. By the way, we came back from 2-0 down at Ellen Road to equalise 2-2, and then ended up losing 4-2. That were an unbelievable one. We had the game at Old Trafford when Luke Ayling scored that absolute screamer, and we ended up going 1-0 up, and then we ended up getting battered. And we've had a couple of rough ones against them as well. This one.
Scoobs game.
The Scoobs game. That was a 2-2, wasn't it? We were 3-0 up in that game, and we ended up drawing 2-2. So I think we've taken 2 points off them then, because I'm pretty sure we drew 0-0 at Ellen Road as well in one of them. But alas, this feels like the one where we've got the most opportunity to take 3 points. And as much as I like to kind of downplay it, or it doesn't matter that much, when we're in the same league, it really matters. This is the game that I grew up like absolutely thriving. And for a Leeds fan, this is absolutely massive. And, you know, I'll turn that game on that day the most excited and nervous that I've been about a game in a long, long time. I really feel like we can beat them, and I feel like we can bully them and turn them over. So, I'm excited, as you can tell.
Very much so. Very much so. I mean, look, as you can see on that list, it is an extremely busy month overall, January. I mean, how is Daniel Parker going to find the time to manage the games, sort out training, and also try and get a couple of bodies in at the same time?
Yeah, they come thick and fast, don't they? They really do. And I mean, there's some tough games in there as well. I mean, you're identifying Fulham at home as one that you kind of must win. Looking at them fixtures, Everton away is always going to be tricky. Arsenal home's obviously going to be tricky.
The thing with Everton away as well is, I appreciate they lost to Newcastle at the new stadium and then lost to Arsenal last night. But as new grounds go, there's usually a bit of a hangover from you know, you see it with West Ham, we saw it with Arsenal when they went to the Emirates. For Everton, they have on the whole settled into the new stadium very well compared to most who move grounds.
I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that there's been a lot of unrest at Everton over the last 5 to 10 years. And I think they've seen it and really grabbed hold of it as an opportunity to draw a line and start anew.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
I think it kind of coincided really nicely for them in the journey that they're in. Obviously, with Moyes going back as well. And the fact that they're doing all right on the pitch helps. Like, have to go out and do it, don't they? So, I mean, I always really liked Everton up until them cheating and spawning and getting away with blue murder and then Frank Lampard going in there made it worse. And I didn't like the last few years, but I quite like them as a club. So I ain't got a problem with them doing all right as long as it don't come as a consequence of us, which it did for a bit.
We're going to move towards wrapping up, but just before we do, the table as it stands, Jay. Discuss.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, it doesn't look great when you're that close to the line, but when you actually apply context to it and you look at where we are and what we've achieved and who are below us, established teams in Forest, you'd have to say West Ham and Wolves. We're 17 points in front of Wolves. It's a madness, really, when you consider the fact that they were an established Premier League team who survived a year ago, and we were Championship winners. The level difference between the two is wild, and they just don't look like ever winning a game, do they? So, and us and Burnley both came up on 100 points. We're 8 points clear of Burnley. It's considerable at this stage of the season. We're nearly halfway through. So
it's that 6 point gap, isn't it? Now after yesterday's results, obviously with West Ham losing, that makes things look all that little bit sweeter at the moment. As you say, you're only a couple of places above the line, but 6 points, as we know at this stage of the season, for sides that are out of form like West Ham are, is massive.
Yeah, it is. And not only that, but we're only a game away, or a win away, should I say, from some considerable teams within that batch as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, 3 points behind Spurs.
Yeah, Spurs. I mean, we mentioned Bournemouth. I can see Gavin Butters put their Bournemouth for sinking. We mentioned it in the group yesterday, and they're in a serious rut right now. I don't think they've won in 8. I think it is, and they are sinking, and they've got Tyler Adams is out for 3 months.
Semenyo's got a £60 million release clause active that comes into effect in January, and both Manchester clubs are looking at him apparently. Although I can't help but feel that if he goes to Man City, it's such a waste of Antoine Semenyo for a start.
He will go.
I was talking to your friend Mike on the way back from the game yesterday, and it's just like you just don't know how he'd fit into that Man City side. Like, there's so many players that he's not going to get in ahead of.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't see him going to City. I just think they've got so many top players in that area of the pitch. But I could see him going to Manchester United. I could see him going to Manchester United and doing quite well as well, actually. So yeah, you look at them, and I mean, Fulham are one of the most disappointing teams I've seen this season. I've watched them a few times. Bournemouth, we should have beaten them at Ellen Road. I mean, imagine how that would look if that had happened. We'd have both been on 21 points. Spurs, have got issues there, and yesterday, I mean, that were a bit of a debacle, wasn't it? Xavi Simons getting sent off, Romero getting sent off, like it's a bit of a mess. So they'll be looking over the shoulders. I mean, we're what, 5 points off Everton in 10th. We're closer to 9th than we are to 18th.
Yeah, that's mental.
That is mad. So it really, really deserves a lot of credit. We'd have bit your hand off with this, Chris, before a ball was kicked. We would have done after 17 games, being 6 points clear of the bottom 3. Come on, like this is as good as we could have ever hoped it to be. So yeah, happy, mate.
Finally, I just want to touch on Gavin's point as well, because look, if it comes to the wire, you know how crucial it is. But with these wins of late and this good form of late, is a boost to the goal difference as well. And obviously, well better off than the bottom 3 as it stands.
We look like scoring a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at them fixtures that we put up earlier. We scored 3 against Liverpool, 3 against Chelsea, 2 against Manchester City, and we obviously had the 1-1 with Brentford, and then another 4 yesterday. Not them ones, the results. Results, sorry, not the fixtures, yeah. But 4-3-3, like that's considerable goals in them 4 games, isn't it? What's that, a return of 11 goals in 4 games?
Yeah. You've already put 3 past Liverpool, and you go there next anyway. So do it again, jobs are good.
Yeah, I mean they've turned the corner a little, haven't they? They have turned the corner a little now of Liverpool. They've kind of come out of that slump, which makes the point that we got look at. Oh, I know how Chris is doing.
Yeah, my camera's just decided to pack it. Oh, there we go. Back now.
He's going all over the place. Yeah, Liverpool have definitely turned a corner, and we were able to kind of take a point out of that corner turn. So I don't think it was too bad, to be honest. Well, no, it was a great point, wasn't it? So January's going to be really interesting. We've got Derby in the middle of that, which I would imagine would see an opportunity for a lot of changes. I think, Sam Byron will come in, James Justin will come in, Caldalo will come in. You might even see Harry Gray. You'd certainly see Joe Perreault if he's still there. Dan James will probably come in. Nonto, Dan James is out, but if he was back, Nonto will come in for a start. The team would look very different, I would imagine. I can't imagine us putting any eggs in an FA Cup basket, if I'm honest.
We will see what happens. It's going to be a busy month. There's going to be a lot of changes. Like the Pirro may have disappeared by the time we get to that Derby game in the middle of the month. There might be a whole new number 9 through the door at Elland Road. We will see. We'll wrap it up there, though, Jay. I know that Browney has got some Leeds content planned. I know he's got a transfer rumor-based show link, because obviously there's been some rumors of late that he's very excited to kind of get on and talk to you about. I assume that will happen at some point over this festive period, no doubt, before we hit January. But no, thank you for taking the time, mate, to come on this morning and talk Leeds United. Big thank you to everyone that's been in touch and has commented, and of course, a very Merry Christmas, because by the time the next Leeds game happens, it'll all be over. We'll all be stuffed with our Christmas dinners and just vegging out on the sofa.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, and I echo that. Thank you very much to a lot of the consistent commenters, the irony every week, every show that we ever put on. So we really do appreciate it. And have a wonderful Christmas. And thankfully we can kind of, the silver lining to not playing on Boxing Day is that Boxing Day can't be ruined, right? So we can deal with the Sunday on the Sunday. So have a great Christmas, guys.
Absolutely. Cheers, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Keep an eye on our social media. Don't forget to like and comment as well. If you've caught this a little bit later or midway through, it'll be available to watch back on the YouTube channel. But for myself and Jay, have a very Merry Christmas, and we'll see you soon here on the West Yorkshire Football Show.